Fit to Love, episode 114, Secrets for Successful Single Women in Dating.
Fit to Love is physical, emotional, and spiritual fitness to achieve the happy life you deserve. From exercise to cooking, relationships, and spirituality, you'll find all the inspiration you need right here with our host, JJ Flizanes.
Hello and welcome to Fit to Love Sexy Saturdays. Today's show, Secrets for Single Successful Women in Dating. And we have back the fabulous Julie Ferman. Julie Ferman is a professional matchmaker providing free, private online registration for both men and women to be eligible for personal matchmaking referrals in Southern California, the US, Canada, and beyond. She's a seasoned dating coach, media personality, professional speaker, singles events producer, and a consultant to the matchmaking and dating industry. Her mission is to dignify and streamline the dating and love search process for selective, relationship-minded professionals. Julie provides a full menu of dating coaching, personal matchmaking services, and professional referrals to single men and women throughout the US, Canada, and worldwide. Julie met her husband of 24 years through a proactive love search of her own, and she has spent every day since helping singles make that all-important initial connection with the right people and to master the art of dating. With over 1,100 marriages to her credit, she knows the love business and is eager to share her secrets. Julie Ferman was awarded by iDate, an online personal watch, the Best Matchmaker Award in 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013. We've seen Julie on Dr. Phil, Good Morning America, The Today Show, NBC's The Match Off, NPR's The Brian Lehrer Show, and Fox News. And we've seen her in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Christian Science Monitor, LA Times, Woman's World, Westlake Magazine, the Los Angeles Business Journal, and the Orange County Business Journal. Welcome back to the show, Julie.
Thanks so much for having me, JJ.
It's really fun to talk about dating, and especially this time of year when we're getting really close to that big heart love day that everyone seems to either stress out about because they're single and looking for a partner, or stressed out because they have one and they don't know what the rules are or what their particular rules are. This is a perfect, timely topic. So let's first start out and talk about that. What are we defining as single successful women?
You know, I think today's single successful woman it's a woman who's achieved a certain amount of success in the world. It could be financial success, or it could be that she has sort of risen to a place in her profession where she has a lot of respect and a lot of admiration. She's usually the type of woman who has a lot of confidence in the workplace. And what usually goes with that is she thinks that her success intimidates men. And it's really not that. Should we talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. Because the people that are listening, especially the women who are wondering if they fall into that category, let's talk about the category. So that way they know for sure that they can listen with 100% attention on everything you're about to say.
Yeah, it's really a tricky thing because ever since women's lib, we've been getting stronger and stronger and stronger as women. We're more capable. We're more competent. This is the first time in the history of the human species that we have more single people than married people out there in the world. And women have never been stronger. But women's lib was not particularly good for our relationships. I wouldn't say that women are happier in their relationships post women's lib. It's good we got the vote. We can go into the bank and get our own loan without a cosign. That's all wonderful. But in terms of how content and happy we are in our relationships, in a way, I think we might have actually taken some steps backward. It's not that we want to give up our newfound freedoms, but I think we need to learn how to integrate our new strength in a way that doesn't push men away. So what I hear from women all the time, every day of my life as a matchmaker and a dating coach is, well, I do really well out there in the world financially and professionally. I'm very strong and capable and competent, and that intimidates men. And I have really studied this, and I've studied it within my own relationship with my husband because I'm sort of the power person in our relationship in many ways. It's not that our success intimidates men. It's all about how we're being about it. In other words, if we are speaking to a man in such a way that he's put off by the way we're talking, That's our stuff, not his stuff. You know what I mean?
Um, yes. What about, because individually, if he's put off, I would think might be his stuff too. But if we're talking about he's put off, like all men would agree to be put off, then we're talking about a different sort of language, the difference between that feminine and masculine language. So if it was more of a across the board that most men would respond the same way, then yes, that's her showing up in a way that sort of repels the opposite sex or what she wants,
That's
right?
exactly right. It has to do with energy. And the first thing for us to look at as women is, okay, what type of woman do I really want to be? How am I happiest? And how do I want to be at my core? And how do I want to present? And then the other element we want to look at is, what type of man do I want to attract to me? There has to be an energetic balance. So, a woman who's putting out a lot of strong, controlling, powerful masculine energy, she is not going to be naturally attracting that type of man. She might actually, if she really wants to be that type of controlling, in charge type of woman, she might be a better fit energetically for a guy who's got softer energy. And that doesn't play with our cultural stereotype because the women sit into my office every day and they tell me they want to be with a guy who's bigger and stronger and more powerful than she is in every regard. That's natural. We're geared that way. And yet, if we're walking into the game already being so strong, so masculine, so successful, and we expect that the right guy is going to out earn us, he's going to be tougher and stronger, more secure, more confident. It's just like there aren't enough of those guys to go around. And then the more complex challenge is that that type of guy is not naturally going to want to come home to an argument, someone who's difficult, hard to please. Those type of big, strong, powerful masculine men tell me all day long that what they want to come home to is what they call a soft place to land. So it's not that we need to become June Cleaver in order to have a big, strong, powerful man in our life, but we do need to practice the art of shifting back and forth between our masculine energy, which we use to get things done during the day, and the feminine energy that a big, wonderful, strong, powerful masculine man wants and needs to come home to at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I just thought of three shows just from this short, brief conversation, because another issue women have that they don't realize they have is the ability to receive. And that's where that comes into play. So, anyway, but we're not going to talk about that right now, unless it comes up in the questions that I have for you, which the first one is, what is the most important thing for every single relationship seeking woman to do?
In order to attract the right guy?
Yes, to the single successful woman that we're talking about.
Yes, the first piece is for her to do her inner work and really look to see who she is naturally. Because until she knows who she is naturally and who she wants to be naturally, she won't really be able to determine who the right energetic fit is for her. So it's doing that self analysis, like I can do it for myself and determine that, you know what, I really am a pretty strong, take charge type person. And if I'm really honest with myself about that, and I look to see, well, what type of man is a good fit for me? It's really not the big, strong, powerful, boss me around kind of guy. I actually hate being told what to do. So fortunately, I'm partnered with a man who kind of lets me do what I need to do. And he does, we work through the tough issues in partnership. And there's certain areas where I let him and I let him have the reins. We've decided that's an area of our relationship where he's the primary, person in control. And then in other areas, I have the reins. So we work it out together. So the first piece of the puzzle for her is to know who she is and to look into what's the natural fit for her. So that's the first thing to do. And then after that, she has to try to figure out how is she going to put herself strategically out there in the world in places where she can be found by those kinds of men.
So it's taking, for any of you that are out there listening and you're a single, successful woman, and even and especially if you're an entrepreneur, it's that whole marketing piece, right? Identifying like what your product is, which would be you. And then what Julie's saying about putting yourself out there, who are you marketing to? How can you strategically place yourself out there in order to meet the kind of people or meet the kind of partner that you're looking for, right?
That's right. And if I would say probably at least half of the people who are listening in are currently using online dating or have done online dating, it just blows my mind the number of people that I meet with who are doing online dating, who are females, who have not done the most important piece of that puzzle, which is to get really good, current, flattering photos. And we need a really good face shot with a smile, not the one with the girlfriends, not the one with the sunglasses or the baseball cap. It doesn't need to be a bikini shot either. We do need a full body shot. If you only post your face, oh my goodness gracious, that is a huge mistake because a man will always fear the worst. And the truth is, what's the worst for one guy is actually perfect for another guy. They all have their preferences, thank goodness. Otherwise, we'd all be fighting for the same men. I got guys who like stick skinny Asians. I've got guys who like the, big boobs and the big fat lips and the whole thing. There, for every type of woman out there and body type out there, there is a man who is digging on that particular expression of femininity. So to get great photos is the most important thing. And if your photos are more than a year or two old, you will not get second dates. You just won't. So invest. There's a company called Look Better Online, and it's easy to find in US and Canada, and it's inexpensive, and they specialize in dating photos. It's like $150 or something. It's not a lot. Or you just, anytime you look good, you've taken the time to kind of doll yourself up for a party. Take the time to get photos. Have your friends take photos. Even if it's just with your iPhone, it's okay, but take enough that you get some good ones. You got to kind of get the courage up to do it. But you will get far more second and third dates if you are using fantastic photos. And then the other piece about the profile, oh my goodness gracious, please look through that online dating profile and pull out anything that's negative. Only say what's true in your profile. If you feel that you must fib about your age, do not fib more than 3 or 4 years, or you will not get second dates and you will be hacking off a lot of people. And if you do fib at all about your age, in the body of it, of the essays, put in there somewhere, and I only fibbed a few years about my age. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to meet you. Something like that. Because there are people who think if you've lied about that one thing, what else will you lie about? And you will miss the opportunity to have second or third dates with those types of men.
I was at the comedy club last night, and there were 5 comedians that were doing the show, and 3 of them were single. And 3 of them, actually, the person who was the moderator and the MC for the night, she was talking about online dating. And so they all kind of jumped on that bandwagon and they talked about online dating. And it was really interesting because we got both the female and the male perspective. And so the guys were saying, don't put the photo up of you and your dogs or you kissing the dolphin in your bikini and then in the profile say, I'm only looking for serious people, when your photo obviously is playful and sexy and you don't want them to be looking at you for just what you look like, yet that's what you're sticking up. What would you say to that, Julie?
I don't think that you should be putting anything on your profile that's super revealing. You do not need to put a bikini shot in order to show that you have a trim, attractive figure. If you're really looking for a relationship, keep it above board. And don't be too flirtatious. The other thing I would say, and this is just a really good thing to do, it's the beginning of the year. I'm really encouraging everybody to practice kindness every single day of your life. And that means respond to your emails, respond to your text messages, respond to the people who call you. Don't just vanish if you're not interested in a guy. Have the courage to say what's so. Practice your communication skills. You'll get good at it after a while. It's saying these words, something along the lines of, hey, I'm so glad we had this chance to meet. I'm not sure we're a really great fit for love and romance, but I'm so glad we met. Best of luck to you, and stay in touch. Something like that. I really encourage women to plan their own singles parties. Call it a +1 party where you invite all your favorite friends and have everybody bring an opposite sex friend that you don't know yet to share. And it blows my mind whenever we have these parties how many women will tell me, "Oh, I've been dating for years, but I don't have anybody to bring." That means she's burning her bridges and she's discarding men if they don't turn out to be the perfect person for her. What a mistake. The hottest guy I dated in all the years I lived in Kansas City was the cousin of a guy I totally did not have the hots for. So if I'd blown off that initial guy, I never would have met his hot cousin. It's just a little, you want to treat people how you want to be treated and practice on the roads. How are you treating the people in your way, on your way to your work or on your way to your gym workout? How are you treating those people behind the wheels of those cars? It could be your Aunt Susie you just cut off. And if you practice being kind to everybody, it will come back to you in spades. So, wherever you are on the kindness spectrum, my suggestion for 2015 is ratchet it up a notch or two. And I promise you, by the end of this year, your love life will look different.
One of the things that came up for me when you were talking about responding to everybody, because I remember when I was online dating and it was crazy. I think one day I woke up to 150 emails, and that just, in a successful, busy woman, I don't have time to respond to 150 emails. So what I was thinking about when you were talking about like the response, like, oh, I'm so glad we got a chance to meet, is would it be okay? This is what I would do based on the advice that you've just given. If I was still single and doing online dating, would be to write that response out and then copy and paste because there's no way I was going to sit down and type out 150 little short paragraphs to people who I wasn't interested in. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I see what if you are in a high demand category, the two groups of people who are very much in demand are attractive young women, in particular under the age of 35. There are simply not enough of these women to go around. Or if you're super attractive in any age group, you're going to get a lot of responses and a lot of inquiries from men, many of whom really don't have a shot with you at all. It's okay to just not respond. It's all right. I mean, if you're in that spot, it's feeling like a full-time job. If you just want to delete them, that's not the end of the world. But once you have met somebody, once you've even talked with the person on the phone, rather than just leaving them hanging or not responding to a text message that comes in after a date, have the courage to respond. The person who is writing to you, the person that is calling you, the person who is meeting you for that first date, they're giving you the gift of their time, their attention, their respect, their interest. It's a gift. And to not say thank you is kind of unkind. It just is. So if you just delete the incoming emails because there are 100 of them in your box, it's fully understandable. But once you've actually begun the process of communicating with somebody, I think it is an act of kindness and generosity to always respond, even if it's a no thanks.
And I also think it's a good practice, like you're saying, Julie, to, besides just being kind, men would rather you rip the Band-Aid off quickly and just get it over with and be direct and honest. And women kind of aren't. And so you get to practice being direct and honest and saying, we're really not a match. Thank you very much. Because when the shoe's on the other foot, women hate when guys don't respond back. And then they sit there for weeks wondering, well, does he like me? Is he too busy? Did I do something wrong? And you get dragged out. So just be the strong, successful woman and speak up and be direct and be kind and move on.
Yes, it's a great practice for us to constantly work on our communication skills so that we're saying what we really need to say, but with kindness and compassion. That's one of the ways that as strong, powerful, successful women, we can soften our edges a little bit by being compassionate with everything that we do.
And that also comes back to the inner work, I believe, that you started off with by one of the most important things for single relationship seeking women is to do your work. And when you do your work and you're a happy, kind person to start with, then it's not such a stretch. But if you're looking for a partner to complete you or to quote unquote make you happy, then you're going to dive down the deep, dark hole of being dependent. And that's just not going to produce a happy, healthy relationship, in my opinion, forever.
That is a brilliant statement, JJ. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's very common for me to see in profiles that women write and in discussions that I'm having with my female coaching clients. I want a man who makes me laugh. I want a man who makes me happy. No man can do that for you. If you are the type of woman who laughs a lot, then that's what you're bringing to the table. If you're a woman who sits there waiting for a man to tickle your funny bone, Oh my goodness, that's a recipe for disaster. Bring your laughter with you to that date. Don't be sitting there with your arms crossed and a scowl on your face, waiting for him to do something to you. I really recommend bringing your own happiness to the party. My sister calls it making your own gravy.
Well, absolutely. Well, that's what I did before I met Brian. So this whole show, if you want some place to do your own work, come visit us weekly. We have 6 days a week of information here to help you do your work. So that way you are the happiest, who you are in a whole way, so that you're attracting those kinds of people and you already are that person. So there is no dependency on someone else it's basically like an addiction. It's like codependence. You want a healthy, authentic relationship, not a codependent, Archie Bunker kind of thing going on. We're not in that. You're strong, you're successful. There's a reason that you've gone down that path. So let's move on to how women can stay confident. So during this whole dating process, they're hearing this and some of them are cringing because they don't understand it yet. And some of them are going, okay, well, how can I soften up yet stay confident?
Confidence is so important because for both men and women, it is the number one thing that is sought out. Men find confidence sexy, alluring, appealing, attractive, all those things. So how do you get it? It has to do who you are, which is it's that initial part that we talked about, really knowing who you are. If you've never done this, whip out a piece of paper and make a list of all of your attributes, your strengths, what it is that makes you special and unique. It's something that we don't normally do. We don't like to toot our own horn. We've been taught that it's not, that we should have more humility. But I want you to be very clear about the goodies that you have, that you're bringing to the table. The guy who gets to keep you, what are the goodies? Are you playful? Are you fun? Are you sexy? Are you adventurous in the bedroom? Are you kind and considerate? Are you trustworthy, reliable? Are you conscientious? Are you a hardworking person? What are your strengths? And if you don't really know, ask your best friends, ask your mom, ask your sister, ask your work colleagues, the people who know you well and who really appreciate you. Have them give you your top 5 elements of appeal, and you'll be really amazed at how much love people have for you. And then you need to put that in your profile, and you can put it on a little sticky and put it on your mirror in the morning and know that that's who you are at the core, and practice being those qualities in everything that you do. You are the unique expression of you. No one else can do you like you can. And you want to be confident and secure in who you are, because dating is an ego-deflating process full of rejection. Every first date you go on, every guy you look at online that doesn't end up being the guy you get to keep, they can take a little chunk out of your confidence, which is what we want to avoid. So just know every adventure you have in dating is going to end in disappointment until you meet the right one. And how you're going to get through the rapid waters that dating is by knowing and loving who you are. Some kind of a ritual that you have for yourself, develop it. For me, it's reading something that's spiritual and grounding every morning. It helps me remember who I am. Throughout the course of the day, I'll take little breaks, go outside, just get centered again, remember who I am. It helps me get through the bumps in my road, in my journey, because we all have them. Your responsibility is to keep being in love with yourself.
Absolutely. And I would invite you who are listening to also consider, today is not the day to do this conversation, but to consider the spiritual aspect of that. I believe that not that there's one right person for you, but there's a reason, and that everybody that you meet prepares you for that person. So it isn't all for nothing, and you can choose to believe in a higher purpose for it all, which should soften the blow and make the process a little less stressful and a little bit more fun. So that's how I handled it. We do have one more question that I want to go over for the advice for the single successful woman in dating. But before we get to that, it's going to be about how to turn off our masculine muscle. We do need to take a break and thank our sponsors. Get the hottest tips and latest trends for your business success with today's Innovative Woman magazine, a free print and online digital magazine. Plus, receive the special bonus video series, Platforms for Profit, the must-have marketing essentials for outrageous success, taught by media and marketing strategist Kathy Alessandra. Who is today's innovative woman? She's a smart and savvy business owner. She is driven and committed to success. She invests in herself and her business on everything from products to grow her knowledge, services to grow her business, and events to learn and connect with potential clients and customers. You can claim your free subscription today and get it mailed to your home or office at today'sinnovativewoman.com. What does your self-care routine have to do with dating and relationships? Everything. How you treat yourself is the blueprint for how you show others how to treat you. I call this your body blueprint. Ready to change your body blueprint and manifest better quality relationships and physical results? During the month of February, I am giving away free copies of the second edition of Fit to Love, How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life, when you subscribe to this podcast. Visit fittolove.tv/ebook to download your copy today. That's FIT2LOVE.tv/ebook. Let's transform your body and your relationships. All right, Julie, how can women learn to turn off their masculine muscle, these strong, successful women in dating?
Such a great question. I'm so glad you asked it. Each of us needs to learn as women who are accomplished out there in the workplace. We need to learn how to shift back and forth between our masculine and feminine energy. And it's a little different for each of us. So I want you to find what works for you. I am a nature girl. I'm a Taurus. All I need to do is look at a flower, watch a bird spinning around in the tree outside. I just need to go outside and put my feet on terra firma, and that works for me. If I'm in a place where I can't be outdoors, I can go into a ladies' room and put myself in the privacy of a stall and do my breath work. If I know I need to ground myself and center myself before I speak, before I go in to meet with a client, before I have a challenging meeting with somebody that I know is going to just try to ruffle my feathers, I will go into a quiet place and I will take 30 seconds to ground myself. That's what works for me. If you're going to a date from a work meeting, I have a lady who's a trial attorney and has a really, really stressful, powerful job. And her dates are literally set after that meeting. So what she does is she always wears something that can easily transition into something a little more feminine. It might be she's got a cute little shell underneath her work outfit, and she's got a more playful skirt that she throws on and drops the jacket and puts on a cute little sweater. She's always got a little bag in her car for her feminine gear, and she changes the nature of her shoes. I mean, she just changes from a guy to a girl, literally in about 2 minutes. And that's her thing. Another one of my female clients gets to her date early and parks around the corner and grounds herself, centers herself, changes her energy to her soft, more flowing energy. And there's one more little piece of the puzzle that we can shake off before we go into a date or before we kind of move into feminine mode. And it's to let critical, judgmental nature soften and just let it go. As women, we tend to be judgmental, critical, discerning. It helps us, determine which of the berries out there in the field is safe for our family and which isn't. But when we bring criticalness and judgmental and judgment kind of energy into a dating experience, the guy feels it. And nobody wants to be criticized. So we want to practice being accepting, loving, non-judgmental. We want to use our ears more than our mouth. That's being feminine, listening and receiving the gifts that he's bringing to us rather than trying to push our agenda onto him.
Excellent. Now, obviously, I've heard you talk about a lot of your clients. So, Julie, why don't you tell everyone listening if they wanted to work with you, how they could do that?
Great. It's really simple. It's free and it's private for both men and women to be registered with me. But in order to be considered as a candidate for our matchmaking clients, you need to get registered. So just visit julieferman.com. It's F like Frank, E-R-M-A-N, julieferman.com, and register. And we'll help you determine, based on who you are, where you live, and the type of person you're interested in meeting, we'll help you determine the next step. I do lots of coaching consultations by phone and also in person in my Westlake office. It's $245 for a 90-minute in-depth consultation. And those people who are interested in personal matchmaking, we will let you know if we think you're a good fit for that. Lots of people out there in the world are not really a very good fit for personal matchmaking. It's a function of where they live and who they're looking to meet. help you with straight scoop advice on whether or not you should be considering personal matchmaking. Most people I talk to are really not an ideal fit for personal matchmaking. Matchmaking is expensive. Most matchmakers charge from $3,000, $5,000 up to $10,000, perhaps a lot more. I don't usually recommend that people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on matchmaking, but for some people it is a good fit, and I like to help you determine if it's a good fit or not. So based on who you are and where you live in the world, once you're registered with me, and that's julieferman.com, I'll be happy to share with you whether or not I think it would be a good investment for you to consider for personal matchmaking. I'm connected with all the best matchmakers all over the world, so depending on where you live, I'll be able to help you find a matchmaker if you are indeed interested.
Excellent. Thank you, Julie, for being back on the show.
Anytime, JJ. You're doing beautiful work out there in the world.
Do you want to learn more about your hormone health and how to get it properly tested? Then sign up for our Healthy Hormone Kit at nourishingwellness.com. This kit features healthy eating and lifestyle tips to help you heal your hormones naturally. The Fit to Love podcast show offers you 6 days a week of helpful content to achieve the happy life you deserve. Movement Mondays and Tasty Tuesdays are weekly videocasts, while Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, and Sexy Saturdays are audio-only shows themed every week to address your holistic life and needs. If the show inspired you, we would love for you to share it and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today. Head on over to fittolove.tv for recaps of every show, resources, and to join the community. That's FIT, the number 2, LOVE.tv. Have a fit and fabulous day.